We all remember what our first time experiences were like, whether it was riding a bicycle and scraping your knee, or trying a new cuisine, or even starting out a new job. Nerve-wracking. Well, here in the studio with us to talk about her directorial debut and entry into Nollywood is Teniola Olatoni, alongside one of Nollywood's finest, Mofe Duncan. Okay, Dex, it's great to have both of you here on Arise News. It's absolutely fantastic. I want to begin with you, Teniola. You chose to start your journey into Nollywood at a very interesting time, in the midst of the pandemic. Interestingly, your film is titled The New Normal. Why did you choose now to do this? Of all, I mean, you could have had, do you think you could have had better chances if, everything was normal? This was a very critical time, but you chose to start now. Why?
Okay, so first I'm going to say, what is normal? It's only what the majority defines it to be. And I didn't actually start during the pandemic. It's a journey I've always wanted to start, looked at, thought about, and then we actually shot this last year. So even the title, The New Normal, came to us over a year and a half ago. And we just stuck to it. It came and it was a case of, I like this title and I'm sticking to it. And then 1 year later, along comes Mr. COVID-19 and everybody's going the new normal. I'm like, no, we claimed this first. We said this first. But it's been an interesting journey. Would it have been easier? I don't know. I'm here. So I deal with what it is I can see now. And we're just figuring out how to get enough people to see it. And we've got through the filming process, thankfully. We go through the editing, and now it's just getting it to the viewers. It's been quite a journey and a good one.
Lovely. Yeah. I'm glad you said that. It's been quite a journey and a good one at that. Hey, let's start with you telling us more about the film itself. I know that we've seen a trailer, but I wanted you to use your own words to describe what we can expect from this film.
Start at the beginning. So just picture you all nice, dressed up, and you arrive at your best friend's dinner party, and her old friends are there. You haven't seen them for about a year, and you get to the table all excited, and it's hello everyone, and you get hi, hello, awkward, much. And it basically just spirals from there, and it's 4 couples and a single friend of theirs, and they all just kind of navigate through life, the simple things we encounter everywhere we go: nepotism, judgment, infertility, discrimination, mental health issues. They all just literally battle through it and find their way to a new normal. And it's really just everyday life issues. You just have to find where works for you. So the new normal pretty much takes you on a surprising journey, and you learn a thing or two and more, and that's it.
Absolutely. You definitely learn a thing or two or 5 or 100. Anyway, Mofe, I want to bring you into the conversation now. First of all, how are you doing? And what's the new normal been for you as an actor? This is a movie that you're in, but then apart from the fact that it's a film, it's also been our reality for the past few months. The new normal, the fact that you got a lockdown, you have to go out with a mask. What's it been like for you?
It's been very anxious. It's been very anxious, and I remember just after the lockdown, the first lockdown had been lifted, and we had to go back to work. I was filming in Abuja on a project, and I literally fell ill 5 days after I got back on set. So there's a lot of panic, a lot of anxiety. Sometimes you just don't want to even go out, but producers are getting more aware about the situation, and they're trying to put in certain measures to protect cast and crew alike. So it's a bit anxious, and even right now I'm abroad, and it's very tense. People don't want to, socialize. People don't want to go out. The numbers are pretty high, and you have to wear a mask. If not, you're going to get fined and things like that. So, getting back to work, it's anxious because you don't know who you're going to come in contact with, who's going to make you fall ill. But it's the new normal, and right now I come from a medical family, so they've been pumping us with vitamin C and multivitamin and vitamin D, and take your ginger drinks, so it's the new normal. And quite frankly, I think that human beings have the innate ability to adapt to any situation, and I think we're going to pull through.
Thank you. That optimism is definitely welcome.
It is.
Mofe, I wonder if you can walk us through the process an actor goes through when they're presented with a script. Would you have already agreed to do the film beforehand? Do you read the script, feel as though you have a connection to it before agreeing? With this process, being on the team for New Normal, how did that go about?
Absolutely, thank you. And every actor has his own process. And for me, it starts with a conversation with whoever calls me for the job. And I remember vividly, I was in Paris last year, and Tenny had called me, and her voice was so bright and smiley, and she felt like, she spoke to me like she'd known me forever. And I'm like, look, I don't even want to know what it's going to have to say. I'm doing the job. I'm on the job. You know what I mean? So it starts from the first phone call and the way you're perceived. And when you get the script, I read the script immediately, I get it, and then it gives me a broad spectrum of, who I'm up against and what story I'm in and, what part I have to play in the movie. And immediately I read the story and it was a no-brainer. I just had to be on it. It was such a good ride. I could literally relate to each and every character that was being portrayed in the movie. And it's so beautiful to see the final project because, I only shot things that concerned me. I didn't really interact and I wasn't really on set because the schedule was so beautifully done. Everyone wasn't on set at the same time. Everyone wasn't waiting. So they call you on set when you need to be on set. You shoot your scenes and then you're done with the movie. Then another set of people come. So it was actually a fantastic project. And even the production itself, there was always constant coffee and sandwiches, So absolutely. So, you go through the entire process and, you have to start to build, for me, I start to build memories of that character. Why is my character going through the emotions that he's going through? I start to build memories. I start to build emotions for that character because the audience meets you in that film at the point where the movie starts. They don't know what happened to the character when he was 5, when he was 6. Did he fall off a bicycle when he was 10? Things like that. So you have to build those emotions. So that's what really helps you to define your character when you start to get into, when you start playing and sparring with other colleagues, So it's quite a process for me, and it's it's a whole mental preparation that I do.
Fantastic. I can only imagine, I know that from the moment you get the script to the moment you actually start the film, it's like so much more work goes in before you actually even come on air. Now, let's talk, Tenny, about the awards. I know the New Normal is already doing so good internationally. Locally, however, I want to know what you're looking forward to. I want to know what you're expecting. There's the thing of, the awards, if they come, they come, but, we all know you can't use that to validate your work. But then there's also the thing of, yes, I need this. This is going to be what tells me that this was an absolutely fantastic job. Where are you on the side of awards? And, the star-studded cast that you put in that film, you heard what Mofe just said about how you were with him. How did you pick each and every one of them?
Everyone who worked on the project got a phone call from me. So we formed a rapport and I thought, yes, I can spend time with this person. And I am so glad that it worked out that way. When I submitted this film to the American Black Film Festival, it was just, okay, with the pandemic on, let's do something while we're waiting for distribution. And, let's just see what's out there. And then we won. And that just said to me, okay, I didn't make this film for just Nigerians. There are other people interested in our stories because this is everyday people. You can encounter this, whatever country, whatever race, whatever creed, you can encounter this and you can enjoy it. So that gave me yes, we on the right track. And it's been in the cinemas 2 weeks now and the reviews have been awesome. I haven't met anyone yet who said, what did these people even do? So I'm fine. I'm glad. If the awards come locally, I'm looking forward to it. I hope they can also see beyond. It's not all. A lot of work went into it, and the story flows, and most people can appreciate where we're coming from, and we delivered. So I'm happy already. The awards come, I'll say, yay. If they don't, we'll say, next time. I don't know. I hope other people will appreciate it. I hope ABMCA will appreciate it. Maybe Amal, maybe whoever. Amal's already had their releases out, so maybe not. But I'm looking forward to whatever it brings, it brings. This is my first direct, so I had no real expectations. I just wanted to tell a story that will resonate and people will enjoy and keep watching and going back to watch. I was at the cinema yesterday and I met a couple who've watched it twice. So I'm on a good thing.
Good. I know that this is definitely food for the soul for you. It's about the art form. It's about the talent, the process for both of you. But I wanted to talk money. I know that with actors, for example, there could be, actually, let me not use semantics, let me speak directly. We have been hearing, quite recently, a certain actor in Nollywood has not been quite happy with the way society firstly treats actors. He doesn't feel as though actors have been appreciated. And then going on to the theme of my question, which is actually finances. Do you think, Mofe, and I also put this question to you, Tenny, do you think that you are protected? Do you think that actors are making enough money? Because if we were to use music, for example, you'd like to think that you have industries and regulators that make sure you get your royalties. And that's why I asked you about the process in my first question with you. How does that happen? Do you get paid up front? Do you get a portion of the box office? I want to put this in a bit of context. I don't know if either of you or Kachi herself has heard of the movie The City of God. It was filmed in Brazil, shot in Portuguese, really famous cult film. And a lot of the actors in that film were amateurs, people who were living in the favelas, the slums. And so when they filmed this movie, they gave them the option of having an upfront payment or taking a portion of the box office. And the mutual consensus is a lot of them took the upfront money, not knowing that City of God did fantastic at the box office and then they missed out on a lot of funds. Do you see that happening a lot in Nollywood here, where people aren't perhaps as financially prepared as they could be? Is there money in Nollywood? We know that there's so much production, but does the money trickle down to the actors? Mofe, if you could start.
I think every actor has, his or her, fee that she would collect. For me, predominantly, I think that it's strength in numbers. You kind of like earn more the more movies that you do. Unfortunately, even though our industry is like the third or fourth largest, if I'm correct, there is money, but also the cost to do certain things, the cost to do certain productions, like, if you want to really spend money on your project, then you're going to do like a high-end project. If you want to do like a basic, 5, 4, 6-day shoot, then, that budget is also going to tell in your production. And most times, the production process suffers if you're tight-fisted with your funds, but then again, it's also a risk game. No actor is going to, would love to say, look, when it hits box office, pay us. But then again, what's the guarantee that's going to do that? How do we know that the producer is not going to shoot a really good movie and then bag it in the hard drive? You know what I mean? So it's actually a mental game. But quite frankly, most people will say, look, you know what, pay me, I'm done with it, go on to the next job and all of that. I think there should be a way that actors should get some kind of like remuneration. I know that Ten is going to message me and say, why did you say that? But, the truth is that, if we do a massive project and the project is doing well, then, there should be some kind of say, okay, look, this is like a post. We'll all love it. Who doesn't like extra money? But yeah, I think that there is money in Nollywood. I think that Nollywood has thrived. You can't compare it to the music industry because, of course, the music industry is like massive, and the actors get to, the artists get to do shows and get a lot of money for events, but we can't do that.
Thank you for your answer there, Mofe. I'm so sorry to interrupt you because I'm really enjoying what you've said so far. It's time for us to take a very short break, but once we come back, Mofe will obviously finish his point and then we'll put that question to Tenny. Please do stay with us. Welcome back to the morning show here on Arise News. We're still joined by directorial debut Teniola Olatoni, who's just put out her first directorial movie, A New Normal, and we're also joined by one of the stars of that film, Mofe Duncan. Before we went on break there, Mofe was just finishing up his point on whether or not he feels as though there is money in Nollywood, to which you said there is. I'll give you the floor to finish that thought, and then we'll hand over to Teniola.
Okay, yeah, I'll just wrap it up. Like I said, there is money in Hollywood. Otherwise, the industry itself would not thrive. And I think that it all is all part of like the bargaining power, and how actors, I mean, the strength in numbers. The more you do, the more you earn, basically. But yes, I think going forward, I think that when the industry levels up and the economy itself grows and gets better, and there are more platforms and more opportunities for producers to get their films out there and get some kind of remuneration for it, I think that actors should have some kind of like after post payment.
I think that would be nice post-payment. I mean, it depends though, because that could go one of two ways. Just imagine it doesn't do well in box office, God forbid.
You could do it.
Well,
Go ahead, Teniola.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could do it. So you get something up front and you get something on the back end, depending on how it goes. If you're also willing to put yourself out to make sure that it sells. But unfortunately, around here, it comes down to the producer, and the producer is the last person to make money. Everybody else gets paid up front and along the way, and producers last. So if you take all the risk, you feel like, I should take my benefits, no? It's only fair. But I think that as the industry develops and more and things are done a little bit better, but that takes time, and that takes everyone sort of behaving better, and the narratives change. Because when you go to the box office, the cinemas determine where you are. Sometimes the cinema is crowded, so there isn't time crowded with films like now. So there isn't time to even think it too much. But if your film does really well, I think that you can definitely offer something back to the actors as a way of commitment to the next time. And that's it. But for a first timer, no one is willing to take the chance that they've never seen anything I've done. So I had to carry the can, and still carrying the can, but I'm thankful that somehow I managed to put all of these people together without having to raise my 20 years dead ancestor. So I'm fine.
Now, again, Mofe, I would like you to take this one because it's from the actor's perspective now. In terms of still on security for the actors, not just money now, even legal security. I'm sure you're aware of the Johnny Depp situation where, thankfully, Nollywood is not as harsh when it comes to repercussions for doing certain things as Hollywood is. Now, Johnny Depp lost out on Fantastic Beasts. He had been playing Grindelwald for the longest time, did a fantastic job in it, and in the middle of production, as a result of that libel suit that he lost that job, and they did not, in a heartbeat, they kicked him. Well, they asked him to resign, but that's a polite way of saying, like, get out. Anyway, get out. He had a pay or play contract, with the producers of that film. And that means that regardless of whether or not they tell him to get out in the middle of the film, he's going to get paid. Now, that's a contract that puts him in a position where his time is not being wasted. Do we have things like this, within Nollywood, where, because I'm sure there are times where, for whatever reason, maybe a pandemic, a movie gets cut short, or, oh, sorry guys, this is just not working. Different drama just comes up and something ends. But what happens to your time? What happens to your effort if something like this happens? Do we have anything like that?
No, we absolutely don't, and it's something that we fight for. Sometimes producers will tell you 5 days, and then you're still there after 10, and they're telling you, you understand how it goes now, please now, this and that and the other. But I think the larger you are in the industry, the bigger you are in the industry as an actor, the more, people don't want to really offend you or, take your time for granted, and that's really harsh to say for those who are coming behind, but sometimes, and I tell producers that, look, if it's your job that I'm delaying on the other side, you wouldn't like it, so let me go. I remember just before I traveled, I was filming in Benin on a project, and they told me, oh, we're going to film for 6 days. And the first 2 days, I didn't film anything because we were shooting other people's scenes. And the day before I'm supposed to go back to Lagos, I start to, chug out like 31 scenes in 24 hours, and of course, the lockdown started, there was violence there, and I got stuck there, I missed my ticket, so, they don't really protect the actors on that. They don't want to get their job done. And quite frankly, I'm like, look, you have to have a proper schedule. And that's why, being on the new normal was such a good thing, because to get you on set at a certain time, that you leave at a certain time, there's a fluidity of mind. You can actually, relax. But there isn't anything right now that protects the actor against, things like this. Even if you're in a series and, you have to leave or something happens, that's it. You don't get paid, you don't get paid. And I'm not sure if for other projects that has happened, but the one that I've been on, it's never been the case that, you know, if the movie's not done or something happens or the producer pulls out or the executive pulls out, the actor gets some kind of payment for it. That's it. You're done. Next movie.
But if, as an individual, you decide to say, okay, listen, everyone has a contract, I believe, and these are the terms of my contract. If I'm going to work with you as an individual, I don't care if it's not a general thing, but this is what I want. Would you be considered unreasonable? I want to gear that response from the perspective of an actor, and then Tenny, as a movie director, if someone came to you and said, see, these are the terms of my contract. If this doesn't go like this, for every extra hour or every extra day, you're going to add up, 25% of whatever general fee. If you saw that kind of contract presented to you and you really want it with this actor, would you say, please, who is this person? Can you kindly, be going your way? So, Mofe, let me get your own. Would you do something like that as an actor? And then Tenny, would you accept that as a producer?
I have tried it, to be honest. I have tried it in the past, but the thing is, quite frankly, it's a case of most of the time, it's very sparsely that you actually get a contract. With the big projects, with the big producers and some of the big TV producers who do stuff, they do have a contract. And I see that over the past, throughout last year, contracts were being handed out because, people didn't want to default on certain things. But most of the time, if you're doing like a short 4-day, 5-day movie, it's more like a gentleman's agreement. And I always like to have it via text. So if anything happens, I say, look, this is what you told me. You told me 21st is 22nd. I'm out on the 23rd, things like that. And it starts to beg you. It's always beg that ends it up. Please now, just one more day. I'm like, no, I can't stay. So I think it's very necessary because it also protects the actor and, the producers know that they can't really waste time on the project because another day is going to cost them X amount of money. I think it's very, very necessary to have that contract drawn up.
Now, Tenny, from your side?
So, from my side, I think that, yes, from an actor's perspective, it's important. From the producer's perspective, for example, I hired everybody I hired. I told them I needed them for at least 3 to 5 days over and above what I needed them for, because I wanted to be sure that you were available when I needed you. So I told you I'm shooting from the 20th to the 28th. That's when I need you, even though I only need you for 2 days. And you had a schedule for the 2 days. But what I didn't want was something happens and then you're off to Abuja on your whole day, which is why preparation was key. So yes, if someone came to me and said, well, if I'm staying a day longer, you're going to be paying per hour, it's fine. But I would expect that I would prepare so that won't happen. I wrapped up my shoot 24 hours earlier and I returned all of my equipment to the hire service 1 day ahead. That's how you do it. Not go over. If you prepare, you will. Even when things happen, the actors would. Nobody's gonna push you to pay for 1 hour if you haven't been taking, the Mickey all the way. So it will be an unplanned eventuality, not something you do just randomly. Come on set at 7 o'clock, nothing is ready, nobody's ready, it's clear you're not shooting. Why is this person sitting here for 2 days without filming anything? Why? So that's what you will get.
Well, Tenny, Mofe, this has been absolutely interesting and enlightening as well. Good luck with the rest of the shoot. That's your time in cinema. For now, we're going to take a short break and we're going to leave you with that trailer just so, of course, you can see what it's like.
I don't know, bro. It's been almost 20 years. I don't even know how to talk to a woman anymore.
Finding a good man. Now that's apples.
As for me, all I was thinking was, is there space for me in that dress?
Most of the men on my case are either married or narcissists.